have any comments. Yeah. Many times if I had the knowledge and the foresight of what this society would be today, I think I'd have laid down among the crosses of all the people that died for freedom. You know, when I went to service, I didn't go there because I wanted to. I was working on a very, very important part of the country of transportation. I was a locomotive fireman on a steam engine. I hired out in 1941. I got drafted in 1944. The fact that I was on the railroad kept me out to 1944. Then I got a letter that says, "Come and we need you." Well, I went. And the first thing I got told up at Fort Sheridan was, "We'll feed you with the best food, we'll give you the finest clothes, we'll even give you a rifle. All you have to do is say, 'Yes, sir,' how high when I hollers. Attention." That was a sergeant breaking everybody in the induction center. Well, after that, I was blessed. I had, before they got me, I had third-degree flat feet. I'd been crippled when I was 13 years old for about 5 months, 6 months, until I got shoes with an arching that I could walk. Well, they took me into the 4th Service Command. They did their best to make a soldier out of me. Even taught me how to use that rifle. But they had a funny way about handling me. They put everything in TDY, temporary duty. It seemed like I was used as a fill-in every place. I was in 4 or 5 different outfits. I wound up with General Patton over in France. They moved me from one post to another. I was on Camp Seibert. I was in Camp Fort Benning when the paratroopers came back from over there, and some of them were still learning the trade of infiltration at night. I spent a little time in the hospital with my feet and my legs. But But that didn't take me out of the service. No. No, they just moved it to another post. Well, I finally wound up in New York, and they put me on the ship me overseas. And I took a nice trip. All expenses paid. Over to Le Havre, France. I got off the ship over there with a load of prisoners that I'd played mother to from the States on the board ship. Well, they had us load the prisoners on the train, and we took them up to Compiègne. In Compiègne, we were fortunate. I was. That's why I say we. That the war had ended in Japan. Well, we got shipped back to Le Havre. And from Le Havre, the orders come down to go back to stateside. Well, that was right fine with me. I didn't mind that at all. Then I went back to the States. Then I was a guard on a compound there. And I received my high honor of PFC. My first soldier wanted to know what my rank was. Well, I never wore any rank. I was, as far as I was concerned, I was just somebody in there doing a job. And he tried to get me to go to Korea. I couldn't do that. I had a home, and I didn't know this, but it was turbulent at that time at home. I found out after I got home, when my parents divorced, and my mother and I paid off the mortgage and raised the children. I didn't want to see my brother or sister like I witnessed over in France, wherever I was, where the kids were eating out of the garbage can, and they were selling themselves for a candy bar or a blanket or a pair of shoes. We don't realize what we've got here today. When I saw the white crosses on Easter Sunday at church with my mother. I couldn't get over how fortunate I was to be in this country and being home again. And even though my folks divorcing after 25 years, it still was my country. It gave me an opportunity to help my parents. And by the grace of God, because I was raised with the fear of God, when I went into the army, I prayed. And I prayed many times after that, especially on the North Atlantic and the storms. But you know, through it all, this is the only country in the world that has rebuilt every country that they fought against to be rebuilt. That's where all the taxpayers' money is gone. Some of it now for disabled veterans. The pathetic point is Washington, D.C., with these people that are in there, the Congress and the Senates, and the Supreme Court are mostly interested in one thing, and that's a vote. Getting reelected. They haven't stopped to see the forest for the trees. They haven't bled like the people on D-Day when they laid in Omaha Beach and the water and the blood and the ocean. The water running, the flood from the many, many, many Americans, real Americans, that paid for them with their lives. Just like the ones that are in the place of authority today, there isn't enough desire to fulfill the dreams that this country was founded on. And they well enough know it. To me, this is not the kind of country I went to war for. I put a uniform on just the same as when I put on my overalls. I went out to do a job. How good a job I did, huh? I don't know, but I think it was, and still think it was, a good comment on my first soldier when he asked me to go to Korea. And what I'd seen over in Europe, I didn't want. to look at again in Korea. Oh, you might say I'm chicken-hearted. No. No, I'm not chicken-hearted. I was a military policeman. And I did a good job. Nobody in the service that was ever in the service can say that they did a good job. The only ones that really can say it are the ones that never came back. And I see some of that too. But that's all over the dam. And sometimes when I'm as incapacitated as I am now, it's a very aggravating situation. A man who was willing to give everything he had to those that he loved around him, my brothers, my sisters, and my mother. And I believe that the riches reward that I got was being with my mother and my family, yes, and my dad. Even though my folks divorced, my dad worked on a railroad, he was an engineer, and I worked with him. But he gave me an honest answer when I asked him one day about not being with Mom anymore and the kids. He looked at me and said, "It's too late now." And I cherished the time that I could help him. The last 8 months of his life, and buried him with love. Just like when Mom passed away in December of '89. I buried her with love. Who's going to bury me and how, I don't know. That's in the hands of the Almighty. Like I say, you asked me for an interview. Well, that's my interview. It was just that I could take care, be a part of the wheels that helped my 2 brothers, my 2 sisters, all got married. All stayed with the same one that they married to begin with. There was none of this running to the courthouse and saying, "Oh, my hands, them. No. No. I'm proud of them. There's only 2 left now. One died 4 years ago. One died last year. And one's got a year left with cancer. And the last one, the oldest one living next to me is a sister that's down in Florida with her husband. He's 80 also. That was my contribution to this country.
So when you got out of the service, what was your rank?
PFC.
PFC. And you were a military police?
I'd been a military policeman all my life. All the time I was in the service. And they kept shifting me from one outfit to another because it seemed like I was a fill-in for a space that was moved. In other words, I was dispensable in the fact that I was trained everywhere I went. I was in my training. I was trained on how to handle mobs and singular people. And believe me, it wasn't easy when it comes to a lot of these guys from the front lines. But in those days, I could hold my own. I could pick up 300 pounds a week. And I was a young buck. I was 21 years old when they took me. And I could hold my own. But since then, I turned out to be an old man. I've been in this wheelchair now for at least 3 years. And if I had a chance to get up, I'd have to walk, learn how to walk again. I have all the problems that people that are older get. My teeth are going, my hearing has gone, my eyes are going. I don't know why I'm still here. Up to 2002, I could pretty well do what I wanted to do physically. But I've been in and out of the hospital so many times since then. I was in the hospital in the Army. Yes.
Okay. Well, today is Thursday, May 5th, 2011, and we are interviewing Mr. Joseph Bordes.
Yeah.
At the LaSalle, Illinois Veterans Home. And Mr. Bordes, you were born 3/15/23. And my name is Cheryl Walker, and I have been interviewing you. Mr. Bordes, you were in World War II, and you served in the U.S. Army as a military police officer. Well, thank you very much.